Praise God. Brought my Bible and I thought I was going to read out of it, and even though I had it shut up in my car, somehow it still got all wet. It was the only thing that was wet in the whole entire car. So I'm glad I printed out all my notes here. We're going to talk today about hope, because right now we all need hope. You know, we look at what's going on the news, we see the shootings, we see gay marriage, we see all these things happening, and we just wonder, what is going on? This isn't the way we want to see things go. We have hope that tomorrow's going to be better and not worse. We hope that our health will improve, that our financial situation will improve, that a situation with a family member or a friend will get better. When someone's sick, we often say we hope they get better. If a person we know is struggling in their life, we hope it gets better, don't we? Proverbs 13:12 says, "Hope deferred maketh the heart sick, but when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life." When something we hope for doesn't come true, it just takes the air out of you, doesn't it? I mean, it could just take all the energy and just zap it out of you. But when the thing we hope for comes true, well, it feels like you're walking on clouds for days. You tell everybody about it, all the good stuff that happened. In Romans 8:25 it says, "But if we hope for that we see not, then we do with patience wait for it." In Romans 12:12 it says, "Rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing in constant prayer." In most situations, it takes some time for our prayers to get answered. These two verses, they just mention that. God is not our own personal genie that just grants our wishes. I know so many people think of that when they think of prayer. They say, "Well, I tried prayer once and it didn't get answered." Well, that's not the way it works. Often it requires a great deal of patience. It requires praying for something for a while. It requires fasting. It requires praying with another person about it. And during that time, God is building our faith, and He's also building our character. In Romans 15, verse 13, it says, "Now the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, that ye may abound in hope through the power of the Holy Ghost." In Deuteronomy 31:6, it says, "Be strong and of good courage, fear not, nor be afraid of them, for the Lord thy God, He it is that doth go before thee. He will not fail thee nor forsake thee." God is more than powerful enough to bring us through our situation. And often we want that hope. We have that hope that this will be resolved. He doesn't want us to wait impatiently and nervously. He expects us to have peace, joy, and courage as we're waiting for our prayers to be answered. Just because you're going through some tough experiences doesn't mean you have to walk around showing it all over your face. You know, it says Jesus was talking about the Pharisees when they fasted. They did everything they could to look like they were all worn out and lean and everything. So everybody knew they were fasting. It wasn't a big secret. If you really have hope, you should be showing it. It doesn't matter if you're in a mountaintop experience where everything's just going great, or if you're down in the valley. We should always have that hope and expectation that He's going to do what He said He's going to do. In Jeremiah 17:7 it says, "Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, and whose hope is the Lord." It doesn't say, "Impatient is the man who trusts in the Lord." It doesn't say, "Worried is the man who trusts in the Lord." It says, "Blessed." Because when we're trusting Him, we're not going to be impatient. We're not going to be worrying about what's going on. We're going to have the faith to know that He's going to do what is right for us no matter what. Amen. Our lives as believers are not always a smooth ride. Our lives are really, it's a step out of the boat onto the water during the storm. It's knowing He's right there and He will take care of us. Hope is a feeling of expectation and a desire for certain things to happen. It's a feeling of trust. It's hard to hope when you can't see your expectation is. But trusting God every step, a small step or a giant leap, is key for us as we hope in Him. He doesn't always give us the biggest thing that we're asking Him for. It's usually some small steps along the way. It might be an unexpected blessing when your car breaks down. Someone will fix it, or somebody will stop if you're stuck on the side of the road somewhere. And He'll just slowly start building that faith, so then you have that hope as you're going through things. You're not just ready to quit. You're not ready to give up every time things get hard, because you know that we have hope not just down here, but our greatest hope is yet to come, our hope of eternal life after our time down here is gone. You know, we can't just depend on our friends and family the same way we depend on God. I think so many times we put our hope in people, and then we get let down. We get disappointed. And then we want to blame them. We want to blame God, and we want to give up on everything. So many people, they spring up, they have faith for a little bit, and when things get tough, they lose that hope. They forget about the long-term look. Not just about what's going on right now, but what's going to be happening in the future. When we get to go to heaven, no pain, no more fear, no more tears. I mean, every day down here we're going to experience at least one of those things. It's hard. But that's why it says, wide is the path of destruction, and narrow is the path that leads to God. It wasn't meant to be easy. Everybody gets their chance. Everybody gets their opportunity. I really believe that. You know, you hear of so many people, well, you know, nobody ever talked to them about God. Well, I had a friend who came into the TV station last week, and she was saying that she was reading all these stories of all these men in ISIS having these visions of Jesus and leaving ISIS all over the Middle East. You can't tell me that God can't still talk to anybody and everybody, no matter where they're at, no matter what language they speak, no matter what their background is. We have to believe that He's going to do that. We have to have that hope that He's going to save our family members, to not give up on them, to keep praying. He's going to save our friends, even some of the friends that we just thought there's no way they're ever going to get their life right. We have to still hold on to that hope with everything we got. There's an event, I actually heard about it this morning, and I said, wow, this fit in perfect. One of the worst neighborhoods in the country, the most violent, the most drugs, everything, was in a suburb of Chicago. This year they held something called Hope Fest there. They planted a large church there, and they were reaching all people through all this community. Totally changing the community. And I thought, what a great idea, Hope Fest. That's something to really celebrate. You know, we just don't go and just, you see all these festivals all summer long, but boy, what better thing to celebrate than hope? To know that things are going to get better, that a neighborhood can be changed by God if people just go there, they pray, they fast, and then they don't just leave, they plant a church there. People get involved. Now, there was a time in my life when I had given my life to Christ really early on, in that I had to learn to hope. I was a pretty negative person. It seemed like everything I learned, I had to learn in the most painful way possible. I had no self-esteem. I had zero confidence. God brought me to a very low place, and He kept me there a while. It was a very humbling experience. He brought me out of that very slowly. He wanted me to be 100% reliant on Him, not my friends, not my family, not my paycheck, to trust Him for every breath of every day. My health was bad. I had no money, and it was a miracle if I ate some days. Things were just tough, and He really had me where I felt like I couldn't even take a breath. I couldn't even breathe at all. Even think about stepping out of bed without praying first. He was my hope and he still is. Sometimes we need to get to that place before we understand what hope and trust is. Jerry and I were talking before the service, and she kind of mentioned the same thing at Rose, maybe that she's got to that place now. And I'm sure we're all praying that she is at that place where she can turn it around and stay turned around. I don't make big changes in my life without going to God first. We all need to put our hope in Him and lean not on our own understanding. Because usually God's plans aren't the same as our own. It says that man makes plans, but God's the one who leads us into those plans. We can make all the plans we want, but if they're not what He wants for us, it's not going to happen. You can plan, you can put all the work, all the time into that. And if His hand isn't on it, it's not going to happen. He's not interested in our plan. What He's interested in is our faith, our trust, our hope, and our obedience. God's not looking for the most talented person out there to serve Him, to put somebody in a position of power, of authority. He's looking for somebody who's going to be obedient, somebody He can trust, somebody that He knows is going to do the right thing no matter what happens. He's gonna lead you when that time comes for you to get put in that position. And just because He puts you there doesn't mean He didn't use any of the things in your past. I was listening to a sermon this week from a young man, and he was saying the only experience he had before he was a pastor, he was a manager of a chicken place. And he said, I didn't have a whole lot of experience dealing with people. And he said, I just did customer service. I was good at customer service. And so he said he went from one side of the country to the other. And he said, sure enough, what he started off doing, he handled all the events and all the planning at the church. He said, so that was customer service. So He equipped him for that position, whether he knew it or not. Every step we take, He's equipping us for the next step, the next job, the next plan, the next journey. And we have to remain hopeful that it does get better. I know when we look at the news, it's the quickest way to zap your hope. They say for every one negative thing you hear, you need to hear 10 positive things to get back to where you were before you heard that first negative thing. Our thoughts need to be in here and on Him. They can't be on everything going on all around us. An example of that is if someone was out in the woods at night, and maybe this woods is filled with bears, it's filled with snakes and all these things. And instead of enjoying this trip maybe out in the woods, you're focused on all the negative things that could be happening around you, the things you can't even see. 9 times out of 10, these things we imagine that are going to come and are going to be terrible, they never happen. It's in that time when if you have that fear, to be focused on Him. I often think that when we're praying and God is really guiding us, that's when you start to hear maybe some of the negative things in your ear. When you start to worry about, what if this? What if I'm not ready to do this? What if I'm not ready to do that? The enemy's going to distract you. He's going to persuade you that you're not cut out to do what God's asked you to do. He's there to deceive you. He's there to break that off. He's going to say, did God say that? Did God really want you to do that? He wants to zap our hope. He wants to zap our joy. He wants us to live in a state of confusion. But we have to keep hoping every day. No matter what we see going on outside the walls of this church, we have to hope that He's still in control. We have to hope that He still is more powerful than everything going on down here. He's more powerful than the negative. He's more powerful than our government. He's more powerful than the Supreme Court. He's in charge. Whether people realize that every day or not, we have to put Him first. We have to have that hope in Him and know that He's already seen it. He already knows what's going to happen. He's provided for us through it all. And whether it gets harder down here or not, our hope isn't that we just get to live down here forever. Our hope is that we get to be with Him. Now, if anybody is in need of hope today, that you're just down, you're out, going through a struggle, let's just have you come forward and let's get some prayer today. Because the world's a negative place. Let's get some hope. Let's get some faith. Let's trust God today. Why don't everybody just come on forward? Let's just everybody get some prayer today. Let's pour out God's hope on each of us here. Let's all get blessed today. Let's get our minds off the negative and on to God.